Less than a week into 2024, IMMO's worst nightmare unfolded. Their golden child, a star player, found himself mired in an illegal gambling scandal. He was accused of betting on his own games, facing investigations from the league, the IRS, and even the FBI over $4.5 million in illegal sports betting. At the same time, the NBA was grappling with a similar issue. A bettor claimed to have wagered $80,000 on a game that relied on this player scoring fewer than 4.5 rebounds. In a critical moment, the player tapped the ball to his teammate instead of grabbing it himself. Shortly after, he informed his coach of an eye injury and left the game. The NBA announced he was under investigation and might face a permanent ban. Simultaneously, the NCAA revealed they were investigating Temple basketball for suspicious betting activity. Since the legalization of sports betting in 2018, 12 NFL players had been suspended for breaching gambling rules. In 2022 alone, 1,212 matches were flagged as suspicious, a 34% increase from the previous year. This was precisely what major sports leagues had feared when they opposed legalized sports betting. In 2017, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell warned that legal sports betting could compromise the integrity of the game. Former MLB Commissioner Bud Selig deemed it evil, asserting it could create doubt and undermine the sport. MLB had been so paranoid about gambling that they banned legendary players Mickey Mantle and Willie Mays for life simply for appearing at a casino. Yet, despite their past opposition, sports betting was now legal, supported by the leagues, and generating substantial revenue. The league's biggest fear, match fixing, point shaving, and rigged games, seemed to be materializing. In March, MMO faced a potentially catastrophic scenario. Shohei Ohtani had just made headlines with his first hit, first deal, and first win in a Dodgers uniform. During MLB's opening series in Korea, he was seen joking with his interpreter, Ape, in the dugout, a sign that everything seemed normal. But within hours, a shocking story broke. Ohtani's attorneys accused Ape of a massive theft. Reports indicated that Ape had been fired by the Dodgers, and early accounts from the LA Times suggested that Ohtani's attorneys had discovered Ape's massive theft, allegedly to pay off sports betting debts with an illegal bookmaker. Before the baseball world could fully process this news, ESPN added more complexity to the story. They reported that while investigating illegal bookmaking operations in California, federal investigators had found multiple six-figure transfers from Ohtani's bank account to the illegal bookmaker, totaling over $1 million. Ape had been interviewed by ESPN just a day before opening day. He claimed that the transactions were not theft but voluntary payments by Ohtani to help him with his gambling debts. This version of events was also confirmed by another spokesperson for Ohtani. However, the sudden shift in the narrative raised suspicions. Why did Ohtani's team shift from describing the transactions as voluntary to alleging theft? The fact that Ohtani and Ape were seen acting amicably the day after the alleged theft led to further speculation. Some began to wonder if Ohtani himself was involved in illegal betting and Ape was merely covering for him. This would be a serious offense and could lead to an MLB suspension. Another theory was that Ohtani knew about Ape's gambling debts and paid them off as a personal favor. This too would be illegal under MLB rules and could lead to severe consequences. Ohtani and Ape's relationship was well known and deep-rooted. They met over a decade ago when Ape, originally from Japan but raised in California, was interpreting for Hideki Okajima. Ape's role expanded when he became Ohtani's interpreter in Japan. When Ohtani moved to the Angels, he hired Ape as his full-time interpreter. Their relationship grew closer. Ape lived in the same apartment complex as Ohtani, became his personal driver, and bought groceries for him. They shared meals and training sessions daily, and Ape even played catch with Ohtani. Their bond was so strong that Ape spent more time with Ohtani than with his own family. When Ape married in 2018, Ohtani generously paid for the couple's entire honeymoon. Ohtani trusted Ape immensely, extending his responsibilities beyond on-field matters. Ape mediated between Ohtani and his sponsors and friends. During the MLB lockout, Ape left his job with the Angels to continue assisting Ohtani. In the 2021 Home Run Derby, Ape was Ohtani's personal catcher, and during the WBC, Ape accompanied Ohtani despite not needing translation for his Japanese teammates. Ape's role in Ohtani's life was pivotal, enhancing Ohtani's star power and boosting Ape's own profile to over 400,000 Instagram followers. As Ohtani's star continued to rise, so did Ape's visibility. The Dodgers' decision to fire Ape and the subsequent allegations added a layer of complexity to an already tumultuous situation. The intertwining of personal relationships and legal issues made it difficult to discern the truth. As the investigations unfolded, both Ohtani and Ape faced intense scrutiny. The legal and reputational repercussions of these allegations could have far-reaching impacts on their careers and the sports they represent. When Ape was introduced to the team, he received the second loudest ovation at the stadium, surpassed only by Ohtani. His close relationship with Ohtani had made him a familiar and prominent figure in the league. Given their close bond, it was hard to believe that Ape would steal such a large sum from Ohtani and avoid detection. The depth of their relationship made it implausible that Ohtani was completely unaware of Ape's gambling issues. Moreover, Ape's reported annual salary of around $500,000 made it difficult to understand how he could accumulate $4.5 million in gambling debt. Many speculated that Ohtani must have been involved in Ape's gambling. If true, this would have serious implications for Ohtani, as MLB and other major sports leagues have a zero-tolerance policy regarding gambling. Just 4 years ago, a minor leaguer was banned for life for betting on the Oakland Athletics, despite the fact that he was not a major league player and had no impact on the game. His suspension was upheld even though the minor league season had been cancelled and he was technically not a professional player at the time. In the NFL, players are prohibited from gambling on any sport while in a team facility. In 2023, 3 NFL players were suspended for making legal bets on sports other than football, but because they placed these bets within team facilities, they faced penalties. Similarly, in the NCAA, players are banned from betting on any sport. In 2003, Rick Neuheisel, then head coach at Washington, was threatened with suspension and subsequently fired for participating in a March Madness bracket pool with friends, despite Washington not being in the tournament. Although Neuheisel later won a $4.7 million wrongful termination case, this incident highlights the league's intense vigilance regarding sports betting. The concern about gambling's impact on sports integrity is rooted in past scandals. One notable example occurred in 1997 in the English Premier League. A Malaysian crime syndicate paid off a security guard to access the stadium's electrical system and rigged the lights to be controlled by a remote. They then bet millions of dollars that West Ham would at least draw with Crystal Palace. Early in the second half, Frank Lampard scored, tying the game. The criminals used their remote to turn off the lights, and with no way to restore them quickly, the game ended in a 2-2 tie. The criminals' bet was successful, earning them millions. Match-fixing incidents like this are more common than one might think. In 2013, FIFA estimated that organized crime could be generating up to $15 billion annually from match-fixing activities. This level of corruption and the potential for significant financial gain underscore why sports leagues are so stringent about gambling rules and why any hint of scandal, such as the one involving Ape and Ohtani, raises serious concerns about the integrity of sports. In recent years, match-fixing has become a significant issue in sports worldwide. A study conducted in Germany revealed that in 2022, a third of amateur soccer players had witnessed match-fixing. The problem is severe enough that in 2022 alone, there were 169 individual sanctions against those caught fixing matches. However, this figure only represents the cases where individuals were caught, suggesting that the problem may be even more widespread. One of the most affected sports has been professional baseball in Taiwan. Over an 11-year period ending in 2008, 64 players from the Chinese Professional Baseball League were caught fixing games. The situation was so dire that in 2008, the Taiwanese government intervened by investigating 102 illegal baseball betting cases involving 222 people. The scandal nearly bankrupted the league, prompting the Taiwanese president to enact a law imposing up to 10 years in prison for those involved in match-fixing to save the league from collapse. In contrast, match-fixing has been relatively rare in American sports. Historically, major sports leagues in the United States opposed legalized sports betting, arguing that it would increase the temptation for players to throw games and erode fan trust in the integrity of the games. They feared that legalizing sports betting could lead to more match-fixing and increased skepticism among fans, who might start questioning the fairness of games even in the absence of corruption. However, in 2018, the landscape changed dramatically. U.S. sports leagues reversed their stance and began to support the legalization of sports betting. This shift allowed individual states to regulate and legalize betting, and major leagues began to see substantial financial gains from this industry, generating hundreds of millions of dollars. Despite these financial benefits, the fear of corruption and skepticism among fans has not entirely dissipated. A notable example of this skepticism arose in January 2024, when DraftKings released data showing that prop bets on Johnny Porter were among the most successful bets of the night. Prop bets are wagers on specific aspects of a player's performance, and it was unusual to see significant betting activity on Porter, who was a bench player with limited exposure. The data indicated that many people had bet on Porter to have a poor game, which was surprising given his limited role and visibility. Compounding this, Porter left a game early due to an aggravated eye injury, a condition he had reportedly suffered from days earlier. This situation led to fan speculation that Porter might have intentionally performed poorly to benefit from the bets placed against him. Although these theories were speculative, they fueled concerns about the integrity of the game. Further fueling the controversy, on March 20, 2024, Johnny Porter prop bets were again among the most successful. The significant betting volume was attributed to a single high-stakes wager of $80,000 on Porter having a poor performance. This revelation intensified skepticism and conspiracy theories among fans, who questioned whether Porter's performance might have been influenced by betting activities. In summary, while match fixing has historically been a rare issue in American sports, the recent surge in sports betting has reignited concerns about game integrity. The financial benefits from legalized betting are substantial, but they also bring increased scrutiny and skepticism, reflecting the ongoing tension between the pursuit of profit and the preservation of fair play. In a shocking turn of events, NBA player Johnny Porter has been banned for life following a scandal involving sports betting and game manipulation. The incident occurred during a game where Porter's performance raised suspicion. He scored less than 8.5 points, had fewer than 4.5 assists, made less than 1.5 three-pointers, recorded less than 1 steal and 1 block, and grabbed fewer than 5.5 rebounds. In a particular video from that game, Porter is seen appearing to intentionally miss a rebound. Immediately after, he approaches his coach, checks out of the game, and claims to feel sick. All of Porter's unders hit, which led to a bettor winning a staggering $1.2 million. Shortly after this, the NBA announced that Porter had been placed on the ineligible list and launched an investigation. The investigation revealed that Porter had been betting on NBA games, including games involving his own team. Although he never directly bet on a game he played in, he did provide confidential information to bettors and deliberately left games early. It appears likely that Porter informed someone that he was planning to leave the game early. Knowing this, the person placed a large bet on Porter to underperform, potentially agreeing to share a portion of the winnings with him. As a result of these findings, the NBA took the unprecedented step of banning Johnny Porter for life, marking the first time in over 70 years that the league has banned a player for gambling-related activities. While the NBA's decision to ban Porter is significant, it's worth noting that other sports leagues have faced similar issues since the legalization of sports betting. The NFL has suspended 12 players since legalization, and the NCAA has recorded over 175 violations since 2018. Despite these alarming incidents, there is an argument that legalized sports betting could actually reduce the likelihood of match fixing. The increased regulation and oversight that comes with legalization could make it harder for illegal activities to go undetected. However, the Porter scandal serves as a stark reminder of the risks and potential consequences associated with gambling in professional sports. On a lighter note, if you're feeling stressed out by the intensity of your favorite sports teams, there's a way to decompress without missing the action. Fishing Clash is an engaging fishing simulator that allows you to enjoy the serenity of fishing right from your phone. Whether you're a seasoned angler or just looking for a fun way to pass the time, this game offers an immersive experience. When I first downloaded Fishing Clash, I was immediately hooked by its gameplay. You can build your own fishing village, collect different species of fish, and explore various fishing locations around the world. The game also features a combo meter that adds an exciting element to reeling in fish, allowing you to earn more coins and XP. In 2024, Fishing Clash became an official sponsor of Major League Fishing, giving players the opportunity to participate in the same events as professional anglers and win in-game rewards. To get started, simply download Fishing Clash using the link in the description or by scanning the QR code. Enter the special code BDE to receive a $20 value reward, including a unique avatar, for free. Enjoy a relaxing break with Fishing Clash, and support the channel at the same time. ### legalized betting, enhancing security against match fixing. One might assume that the legalization of sports betting would lead to more opportunities for match fixing, but the major sports leagues see it differently. Since 2018, leagues have invested tens of millions of dollars in companies that specialize in monitoring and analyzing betting activity. These companies, often referred to as surveillance services, are tasked with spying on players, analyzing betting lines, tracking betting patterns, and reporting any suspicious activities. When you sign up for a legal betting account, your identity must be verified, ensuring that if you're a professional athlete betting on a sport you play, the system will catch it immediately. Even if an athlete uses a friend's account, betting from a familiar location like their home or the arena where they play will raise red flags. These systems can track a user's location within a 3-foot radius, making it difficult to conceal any illegal betting activities. If suspicious betting activity is detected, such as a sudden influx of money being wagered on a specific player, the systems can trace who made the bets and where they were placed. If the location of the bets aligns with areas frequently visited by a specific player, it's likely that the player is involved, and they will get caught. Betting lines are constantly shifting based on the amount of money being wagered on certain outcomes. Using advanced AI services, these companies track every single betting line worldwide, monitoring about 16.5 million bets each day. They compare the movement of betting lines to historical data and flag any lines that are behaving suspiciously. For instance, if people suddenly start placing large bets on an unusual outcome like jaunty Porter unders, the system will immediately flag it as suspicious. Before legalized betting, a player like Porter would have had to place bets through illegal bookmaking operations, making it easier to avoid detection. However, with the current systems in place, such activities are much more difficult to conceal. Sportradar Integrity Services, a company that monitors multiple sports leagues, found over 1,200 suspicious matches in 2022 alone, a 34% increase from the previous year. This increase doesn't necessarily mean that match fixing is more prevalent, rather, it reflects the improved capabilities of these systems to catch suspicious activity. Legalized betting has made sports betting more popular, which inevitably increases the number of potential match fixers. However, it also makes betting more traceable. According to these surveillance services, the rise in suspicious matches is primarily due to their enhanced ability to detect wrongdoing. As legalized betting continues to grow, the demand for illegal bookmaking operations is expected to decline, making them increasingly rare. While players, coaches, or referees could theoretically inform a friend to place a bet on a predetermined outcome, the sophisticated monitoring systems in place today make it far more challenging to evade detection, ensuring the integrity of the sport is maintained. In the world of professional sports, the temptation to fix matches may seem less appealing to millionaire athletes, who would have to bet large sums of money to make it worth their while. Any bet of significant size would undoubtedly raise suspicion and prompt an investigation. Typically, it's athletes with lower salaries who end up engaging in match fixing, which is why this issue is particularly concerning for college sports. Historically, the NCAA has encountered verified incidents of match fixing or point shaving approximately once every 7 years. These situations often involve athletes who are tempted by relatively small sums of money. For example, running back Dennis Lundy, Northwestern's all-time leading rusher, placed a $400 wager that his team would lose by more than 6 points in a game against Iowa. When Northwestern had the ball on the goal line, Lundy fumbled on purpose rather than scoring a touchdown that would have made him the all-time leader in touchdowns for the school. His team, suspicious of his actions, turned him in. It was later revealed that Lundy had fumbled intentionally multiple times, leading to a 1-month prison sentence. The most significant known payment to a college athlete for fixing a game occurred at Arizona State, where a player was paid $20,000 to ensure his team wouldn't cover the spread. While this amount might not be enough to tempt an NBA player, college athletes have been known to fix games for far less. A player from Toledo accepted $900 to shave points, a San Diego State player made about $1,000 per game for the same, and another player was even caught accepting groceries as payment for manipulating a game. While large bets are easier for surveillance companies to detect, small bets, such as a player betting $100 on themselves to lose, are much harder to track. This is one reason why the NCAA is working to ban prop bets for college games. Unlike traditional bets on whether a team will win or lose, prop bets allow wagers on individual player performances, such as scoring more or less than a certain number of points, achieving a specific number of strikeouts, or rushing for a certain number of yards. For example, a starting running back could easily have a friend place a $100 bet that they will gain fewer yards than expected, then fake an injury in the second half of the game to secure the win. Although tens of billions of dollars are wagered on college sports each year, a $100 bet might go unnoticed, but it's still risky. The NCAA invests millions in surveillance to detect suspicious activity, and it appears that they may have uncovered a new scandal. On February 8, Temple was a 6.5-point underdog against Memphis when a sudden surge of bets on them to lose shifted the spread to 10.5 points within just 4 hours. The same thing happened 3 weeks later, with a flurry of money coming in on the under. 4 days after that, it happened again. These patterns suggest that match fixing could be an ongoing issue, one that the NCAA is closely monitoring. In the last game of the season, Temple was a 2.5-point underdog. However, a significant amount of money was wagered on them to lose, causing the betting line to shift dramatically, making them an 8-point underdog. In all 4 similar instances, large sums were placed on specific outcomes, which in turn altered the betting lines significantly. Intriguingly, in all 4 cases, those who influenced the betting line were correct in their predictions. The NCAA has since opened an investigation into this suspicious betting activity. When someone is this confident about an outcome, it's usually due to one of a few scenarios. First, it could be that several players, or a single notable player who plays enough to impact the final score, bet on their team to perform poorly and then intentionally underperformed. Alternatively, someone within the program might have known that a star player was injured and wouldn't play, and then sold that information to a bettor who placed a wager before the bookmakers could adjust the line. Lastly, someone within the organization could have accumulated a significant amount of gambling debt with an illegal bookmaker. Unable to pay off the debt, the person might have been coerced into losing a game on purpose in exchange for debt forgiveness. The bookmaker could then make even more money by betting on the fixed outcome, while the person in debt walks away without paying. This last scenario has historically been one of the most common ways that match fixing occurs, which is why professional sports leagues have always been stringent in punishing any form of illegal betting, even if it wasn't on sports. This brings us to the case of Ape Mizuhara and his association with Shohei Ohtani, which threatened to shake the foundations of the sport. While working with Ohtani, Ape Mizuhara developed a crippling gambling addiction. According to a federal complaint, Ape placed around 19,000 bets, gambling as much as $160,000 on a single wager. During this time, he won $142 million but lost $180 million, leaving him with a staggering $40 million in gambling debt. All of this occurred in just a little over 2 years. Given that Ape made less than $1 million a year, it's difficult to imagine how he could accumulate such a massive debt legally. In the United States, regulated sports betting forbids sportsbooks from taking bets on credit, preventing gamblers from racking up debts they can't afford to pay off. However, since sports betting is illegal in California, Ape had to go through an illegal bookmaker. This bookmaker likely allowed Ape to accumulate the debt, knowing he couldn't afford to pay it off because they expected Ohtani, a multimillionaire athlete, to cover the debt. The bookmaker may have believed that being so close to Ohtani would give them leverage to pressure him into fixing a game or paying off Ape's debt. Faced with this dire situation, Ape had 2 illegal options to deal with the debt: either have Ohtani pay it off or, even worse, have Ohtani fix a game in exchange for debt forgiveness. Both scenarios would have been illegal, putting immense pressure on Ohtani. On March 25, just 5 days after the news broke, Ohtani addressed the media with a new interpreter for the first time. In his statement, he made it clear that Ape had stolen money from him and lied, firmly stating that he never bet on baseball, never bet on any sport, and never asked anyone to place a bet on his behalf. According to Ohtani, Ape had misrepresented his actions and taken advantage of their relationship. Certainly. Here's a rewritten version in approximately 520 words. In a startling turn of events, Shohei Ohtani was blindsided by a major scandal that everyone around him knew about before he did. The scandal involved significant financial mismanagement and deception orchestrated by his former financial advisor, Epidemic. The situation unfolded as follows. Epidemic had accumulated an enormous debt of $40 million due to gambling. The bookmakers, anxious about Epidemic's inability to repay, tracked down Otani, who was walking his dog in Newport Beach, and texted Epidemic about his discovery. Epidemic, who had assisted Otani in setting up his first bank account upon moving to America, exploited this relationship. Using the information he had access to, Epidemic began impersonating Otani to the bank. He called the bank pretending to be Otani, and stole $6 million directly from Otani's account. Otani's financial advisors, who did not speak Japanese, were unable to communicate with him directly and were thus at the mercy of Epidemic's deceit. Epidemic falsely informed the advisors that Otani had restricted their access to prevent them from discovering the missing funds. The scandal came to light when the press began inquiring about suspicious payments from Otani's account. Epidemic, trying to shield Otani from the fallout, lied to the press, claiming that Otani had agreed to pay off a debt to help a friend, not knowing that this was actually a cover-up for his own embezzlement. Otani's management, receiving only Epidemic's deceptive information, relayed to ESPN that Otani had never gambled but had willingly paid off the debt to support his friend. The true extent of the scandal only became apparent when Epidemic addressed the Dodgers clubhouse after opening day, admitting his gambling addiction and apologizing profusely. This was the first time Otani became aware of the underlying issue. Realizing that he had never made the alleged payments himself, Otani and his managers quickly discovered the embezzlement. They promptly made this information public and corrected the initial false narrative. The fallout was swift. Epidemic was fired, and both MLB and the FBI launched investigations into the matter. Otani cooperated fully, providing his phone and any relevant information to aid in the investigation. 3 weeks later, the federal government released an affidavit detailing the actual events. The affidavit revealed Epidemic's extensive gambling losses and his fraudulent actions. Notably, it included a damning text exchange where Epidemic admitted to a bookmaker that he had indeed stolen from Otani, even as he tried to frame the situation as a cover job. Epidemic has since turned himself in and was arrested. If convicted, he faces up to 30 years in prison. The scandal has left Otani grappling with the financial and personal repercussions of the deceit he endured. In a final note, today's video is sponsored by Fishing Class. For a special offer, use the link in the description or scan the QR code and apply the gift code BDE to receive a $20 value reward.